And it's Dan and James talking about the Villa games. Hi there, everybody, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the AVFC Faithful Podcast, joined as always by Dan and James, not talking about Villa games, but upcoming Villa games, because it is our pre-season preview for the season, pre-season preview, the season preview that we're doing before the season starts, and we're previewing the season that's coming up. So we've got a lot to go through. It's probably a chunky episode. We've got all things from general predictions to all our little Villa niche ones as well. I mean, I'll be honest, James, it took me a while to do it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, it took me a good 10, 15 minutes. It was more I still haven't thought of one for probably the last one that they're going for with the sort of out there prediction, but we'll get to that in a bit. Generally, I think it's been easy to predict my Premier League table, and I know I'm going to get 15 of them wrong, but still it was easy. So.
See, I find it difficult, but that's because I always forget a team. Like, I genuinely end up with my top 90. I go, there's someone I'm missing here. There's certainly so. And then this time it was Everton. I remember last year it was West Ham. I forgot West Ham existed. But yeah, this year. So
tell you what, I wish they didn't, so we didn't have the bloody trip away to the London Stadium. Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe next year we won't have that the way they're going. So I'm not saying that's in my predictions. That'll be a spoiler, guys. And I know you're on tenterhooks, so I'll say it now because I'm going to forget the end because it's a busy one. So make sure you stick around, like the video and share it if you did enjoy it, and subscribe as well. Maybe hit the notification bell. Maybe tickle it, tap it, do all the good things to it. Smash the bell. James has told you to smash the bell. It wasn't me this time. So I think we'll go straight into it with our Premier League predictions. I think what we'll do is we'll just do each other's in a row because it'll be quite confusing going backwards and forwards, I think. So I want your top 20 as it goes. I want actually let's go 20 upwards.
That's what I was hoping you'd say. For me, I'll do it in little blocks. So for me, bottom three, Sheffield United bottom, Luton 19th, and Wolves 18th. I just think Sheffield United look like they're actually trying to go down. Luton, I don't think they've got enough quality, and Wolves. Above them, I've gone. This is really interchangeable, to be honest. Honestly, from 10th down to 17th, I'll go through the 17th upwards. Fulham, Burnley, Forest, Bournemouth, Everton, Brentford, West Ham, Palace. I think any of those are quite interchangeable, but
yeah,
I'm expecting West Ham to have a better season, even though losing Rice and having to replace him. I like Palace's squad. It does sort of depend on Elise staying. Brentford, without Tony, I think they'll be a little bit weaker than last season. Everton under Dyche, I think you know what you're going to get. Bournemouth are going to have a transition with the new manager, but I think he'll get some good points. Forest, safe. Burnley, safe. Fulham are really in danger, I think, especially if the last few weeks. Willian might even still go, even though he signed that contract. And then there's Mitrovic. Marco Silva never sticks around for long. It's just one of those, which would be a shame for them because they had a good season last season. And then, it depends. Do we count 8th as Europe in case... I don't know how it works. I don't know whether 5th gets Champions League and then that shifts each space down or not.
I've gone with 5th gets Champions League, 6th Europa, 7th. I've gone for still what would be 7. Top 6, but top 7 this year. I haven't gone for what we got this year, which was the but that's it depends, doesn't it? I guess on the cap stuff.
Okay, so I've got Brighton in 9th, and this is hard because it's so competitive there that teams are just going to miss out, and it's not because I think that they're bad teams. They're just something out of Brighton. I think Caicedo will go, and then I think they'll bring someone in that's they're going to do a good job. And I just think with Europa League, which I think they're going to go far in, I think they might just suffer league form wise. Tottenham in 8th. I think they'll look better than that sounds, if you know what I mean. I think 8th sounds like they've not done much progress, but I think with the new play style, if Kane goes, it's tough, but I still think they'll do it. I think it's a good time if Kane goes, actually, with a new system coming in. And then 7th, I've got us. I wanted to put us higher, but I think we're going to put a lot of stock into the Conference League, which we should probably be able to heavily rotate. But also I think we're going to really go for the other 2 domestic cups as well. So I think league form will be up and down, maybe down to start with and up as it goes for the rest of the season. But I think we'll still see it as a really solid season. And then 6th, I've got Newcastle. I know a lot of people are putting Newcastle a bit further down than that because of Champions League, but again, I think they're going to be underestimated a little bit more again. It is going to be tough for them. But I think Harry's been a really great coach. I think Gordon's going to play a lot more. Tonali will get sorted.
Yeah.
Guaranteed they'll sign 2 more players before the end of the window. I think they'll just have a really solid season and they'll get... I think the furthest they'll get in the Champions League is quarterfinals, and that's if they do really well. And then I think they'll get some sort of Europe again next season. And then I'm going to count it as Champions League top 5. I'll go Chelsea 5th, Liverpool 4th, United 3rd, Arsenal 2nd, and City 1st.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, I don't think many people are ever going to put City anywhere but first now, are they? Especially the way it's gone. It's I mean, looking through that, it's amazing. It's amazing how similar our tables are pretty much every time. So every prediction we have is ridiculously close. Look, I'll start with mine. I'll go from 20th upwards. My bottom 3, it does go 20th Sheffield United, then Luton, then Wolves. Same as you. I don't understand what Sheffield United are really trying to do. I don't think it's totally their fault with Ndai. I don't know how to say his name. That's a tough situation to deal with. But still, look, Luton, I did nearly want to put them to stay up. I think it is. I don't think it's going to be a sort of a derby like season for anyone this year, but I think it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be a little bit close. That squad. Yeah. I mean, what I couldn't. Only one player I can name you, and it's because we sold them to him. So I can't see him doing much. Same as
only one other player, and it's because it's going to be a Blues Villa link up because they signed Chong from Blues as well.
Oh, okay. There you go then.
You know they're linking up for a goal this season.
Oh yeah, 100%. Probably Nakamba scoring it though. I mean, the best things are Claret Blue, aren't they? Yeah. But however, I have differed a bit because I think it's going to be really close with these 3 teams. I think I've gone Everton 17th, West Ham 16th, Fulham 15th, Bournemouth 14th, and then I've gone Forest, Burnley. I think Burnley are going to have a decent enough season. I think they're going to be saved by the fact that, I mean, if they get Sander Bergen, that their main weakness, I think, was in the centre of midfield. So I think that will probably save them a bit.
Good experience.
I don't think they need Nathan Teller at all. I think that if they're going to get Aaron Ramsey, that's pretty much the same level as player. I'm going to go out there on a limb and say that. I think that while they offer different things, I think that Aaron Ramsey's a very good signing for him if it does go through. It looks like it's going to as well from today as well. So, and then I've actually put Brentford at 11th. And Palace at 10th. I mean, Palace are either going to finish 11th or 10th, aren't they?
Yeah, I feel like it.
But I think they're fine with that. I think they're happy with that. I think they probably could do with a couple of years of not changing manager, really, couldn't they?
Yeah, definitely.
And it'd be nice to see just a calm season for them because I quite like Palace. Got a weird soft spot for them.
Got a nice team, exciting team, really.
I think it might be because of HLTCO on Twitter because he's such a nice lad. And I want to see things be all right for him. Then 9th, I've gone Brighton. We've differed a bit here. I've actually put us 8th, but I will explain why in our later predictions. But I do think that we are one of those clubs that will start to shift our focus halfway through the season, and you'll see a couple of draws where wins would happen. And I still think it's going to be close between 6th to 8th. I think it's going to be quite close. I've gone a bit rogue here, and I've put United 7th. I don't see a lot of quality in that manager really at all. I think that they were where they were last season because of the downfalls of other teams. And I think if Chelsea had the squad and the manager they had this season, and if Tottenham had a manager like they do now with Ang, I think they wouldn't have made top 4. So that's that was my little weird one there. Newcastle 6th. Again, I think they'll be fine. I think that again they'll prioritise the cups that they're in later on in the season, and then I mean, like a lot of people say, you're not that worried whether you're finishing 5th, 6th, 7th, or 8th, usually without Champions League being 5th, if you're challenging for a cup. So I can't blame them too much if that's the case. I put Spurs 5th. That's if they keep Kane. If they keep Kane, I genuinely would put Spurs all the way down to 10th and bring everyone up one. I think he's that much of a difference maker for him. That's on anger. I just think that I don't see Richarlison being the striker they need him to be.
They signed a striker today.
Who?
Some Argentinian striker that I don't think I'd heard of before.
Okay, so he's either going to be absolutely amazing or pointless.
He's good. He's got good recruitment. He's got a good talent ID, Postecoglou. So be interesting to see how he does.
And you tell that I can't say that surname. That's why I keep calling him Ang. Aussie bloke. And then Chelsea 4th, Arsenal 3rd, Liverpool 2nd, and City 1st. I do think it'll be closer this year. And I think Liverpool back. Maybe if they sign Romeo and Lavia, I don't know why. I don't think that's going to absolutely solve their issues. But I just hope it's a bit closer this year, because even when Arsenal were top, no one believed in them, did they? And it would be nice to see a proper season again. But look, all subject to change if the transfer window does throw up any surprises. If Mbappe decides to take a trip to Merseyside randomly, then Everton are in for a great season. So it'll be interesting to go back to those at the end of the year. I don't even need to look at last year's episode to know that pretty wrong, but also weirdly right in some areas as well. I think we had a weird.
I can't remember where we put ourselves.
I think top 10. I did. I seem to remember us saying we challenged for Europe because I thought Steven Gerrard was the second coming of Pep Guardiola.
Yeah, and we basically, it was mission failed successfully for us, wasn't it? Like we got Europe.
Yeah.
It wasn't with that man.
No, but thank God, because it's with someone that's actually likable. The tables, you'll have seen them pop up. Again, I don't know much. I just know that Wolves are going down, especially if they lose. I can't say his name. I'm not going to try to. Thank you. I'm not other podcasts that would mispronounce someone's name on purpose as a joke. So I'm not going to do that. And I'll let James do it, because I can't even say Tim's name properly.
All I'll say is Alexa, play that tune.
Right. Champions League.
You go first.
I didn't go for an English-based team.
Me either.
I took a trip to Spain.
Same.
And I've gone for Barcelona.
Same. Yeah. That's honestly, we've not conferred about this before.
Nope.
We've not shown each other what I just think that Barcelona are slow. I think they go under the radar a bit compared to Madrid. Madrid get lauded for all the money that they spend, but Barca do tend to bring good players for the academy.
Yeah.
And seem to recruit well, especially under Alaman, who we could have maybe had, but it all worked out fine. So I don't know. I just feel like they're going to have a really good season. I mean, they smashed La Liga last season. Yeah. And I feel like I could see them doing really well and just being the sort of unexpected package of winning it, because I don't think anyone really would say, yeah, they're definitely going to win it. You can't say anyone's definitely going to win Champions League, but
no.
I feel like Barca could be 4th or 5th in a lot of people's minds.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, there's something about them. People have the aura around Madrid.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess a lot of it comes from just the past of Barcelona past, but I've got this weird feeling about them, and it'd be nice. I think it'd be nice because, again, I'm one of those people that I don't really want to see an English team win if it's not us. It's really petty and it's really small, and I'm proud of it. But however, that changes for other competitions. I think it's weirdly the Champions League, and it's because it's always clubs I don't like in it.
Yeah, but one thing I would say this season, it changes for me. If we're in 5th place and we want a good coefficient to get Champions League, and I'll be like, come on Brighton, come on probably City. So it's one of those. It's what I would be supporting them through gritted teeth in that sense, because it benefits us. But otherwise, fuck them.
Yeah, what James Okay, so well, we'll just work our way through the European competitions. Europa League, and it's your turn.
I went Leverkusen.
Oh,
A
okay.
little a little Xabi Alonso trophy lift. I think
Um,
they look really interesting. They just look a really exciting team. I'm sure it was West Ham they played the other day. They absolutely smashed them,
yeah,
and they played some really good looking football. It's quite intelligent and direct, but they have control over the game. So I'm going to keep my eyes on them this season because I feel like they've got a nice little squad, and they could, I think, challenge really well for the Europa League.
Europa's difficult as well because obviously you get the dropouts from the Champions League, don't you, into them? So that's
Yeah,
quite frustrating because it does throw a curveball. I mean, like if you get I mean, unlikely, but if you get like a Real Madrid dropping in there, they'll just blitz the competition because they need to win it. So,
yeah,
um, I've gone probably not rogue because I think a lot of people know they know the teams in our country that are in it, so they probably guess them. But I actually have gone Brighton. Um, I think that they've made quite a smart signing with like João Pedro.
yeah,
Who like him. I think he fits their system really well, and I think it'll be quite nice to see a team like Brighton win it. I mean, Brighton in the Champions League doesn't make sense, but I really need to see it now just for them winning it. So I've got a weird sneaky suspicion. I think all right if they lose, name's going up my head straight away.
Caicedo.
Thank you. Yeah, if they do lose Caicedo, I think it doesn't help. But you know what Brighton are like. I mean, they keep losing their best players, and they're just fine with it. And
Yeah,
we've still got
It's
Danny
just-
Welbeck, and yeah, I could just see Danny Welbeck scoring the winning goal to get them through the group stage and things like that. Just things you can see. Um,
yeah,
and I do hate to break it to you, but obviously I played Football Manager the other night, and I did actually beat Bayer Leverkusen 4-1, and they still had Diaby. So I think I know what might happen there, James. I do apologise.
yeah. Fair
But then
enough.
again, not many come up against a tactical mastermind like me. So it'll be interesting to see. But the Europa League is such a vast competition, and there's so many just little changeable parts of it that okay, I'd like to see Brighton win it, but it's one of those I'm not
Yeah,
too, as long as it's not. I just don't want a Champions League club winning it where they drop down in. I don't like that, and I don't think it should be part of it. But
I'm not sure West Ham will do that well in it either. To be
no,
honest, I
no,
think I think they'll just about get out of the groups. I think they'll sort of limp over the line in that sort of sense. But then I think they'll go out in the first knockout stage. I don't know. I think that last year a lot of their moments because they still had Rice and then it might be rating of them. But I feel like when you have that, what we know, that sort of world class captain heartbeat of the team, that at any moment they can just get the team up. It does help when you have a player like Bowen that can make something out of nothing as well. And Antonio is just a very strange player, but difficult to play against
yeah,
sometimes. So yeah, I feel like they'll get out the groups just about, but then fall short in the is it round of 16 or 32? I can't remember.
I could see them not getting out of the groups to be honest with you, but I don't like that squad. If I
Yeah,
another squad of players where there's only one person I take for now, and it is Bowen. I'd love to see Bowen play for us because I think he's absolutely amazing. But yeah, I think they're a weird team. I think, and they're going to suffer from. They'll put their eggs in all that basket straight away, and then I think they'll change manager at some point. I think it's all going to be a bit weird. It depends how they spend the Rice money. That could be, but I mean, at the moment, it's looking like it's going on Maguire and McTominay.
I don't mind that. It's just
I don't mind Maguire. I think that's a good signing, but I don't.
yeah,
I never rated Scott McTominay.
I'm half an half McTominay. I think he's got a lot of good things about him, but depends how you deploy him really.
He was a
I
striker.
don't.
That's a weird
Yeah,
fact.
yeah. He just. I could see him as a fullback. McTominay
Strange.
coming
But
inside.
that's like seeing McGinn as a full. I could see McGinn as a fullback.
Yeah, I think coming inside also hold. He's just got that sort of physique and ball winning ability. I think that suit him a bit more than trying to get forward so often. But yeah, that squad needs a lot of work, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Right. The only European competition that actually matters now, and it's the Conference League. Playoffs have not been done yet. But I'm gonna reveal who's gonna win it. I've already seen it. Will it be their only trophy of the season? Possibly not. It's us. I've put us to win it. I struggle to see a world where we don't. Mainly, I will say this: I don't think we're the best team in the world. I know that. I think Unai Emery just walks that competition. I think he'll know exactly what to do for all of it.
Yeah, it's really strange. Like putting Villa down as I'm very confident that we could win a competition.
Yeah,
and it's like I feel like I'm being silly saying it at the same time because it doesn't happen nowadays. And it's been how long since we won a trophy, but it's just like you look at the standard of teams in that competition. There's probably on paper three maybe four that could really cause us problems. But you think about Emery, you think about the squad we've got, and you feel like I think the only struggles we'll start to have is maybe quarters or semi-finals. And it's, I hate saying this because I feel like it could just blow up in our face in typical Villa fashion. But we're not typical Villa anymore. So
no.
I have to put us down as winners. And I tell you what, seeing like it'll be McGinn that had lifted it. But seeing McGinn and Mings lift a trophy at Villa, I'd be set for life. I think the OGs lifting a trophy would be so good.
It's genuinely dream material, and then passing it to Emi Martinez, and then, I mean, how quickly would your wallpaper be a picture of Alex Moreno holding that trophy? I mean,
I don't know, wallpaper, it'd be my skin. I'd tattoo it all over me.
yeah, that's a problem, isn't it? Yeah, the amount of money I'd sink into the shirt we'd wear with the little bit on it. Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's best we don't for my bank account, but no, I think it is one of those. I mean, it's going to sound really, really obnoxious, but if West Ham can win it, I think
Yeah.
we can.
No, I agree.
Think
It
we
does
can.
seem a bit like egotistical, but when you think about, I think they had a good squad because of Rice, and it worked, and we had a good squad. We've improved, and I'd say that this squad is way better than that West Ham one that won last year. So
Yeah, I agree.
tournament football's brutal. You can just have one slip that can cost you. So that's what always makes me wary. But when you've got Emery, you just feel like, yeah, European competition, it's in the bag.
Yeah, weird that, isn't it? It doesn't
It's
sound
so
right
odd.
to me. It doesn't feel right. But yeah, Carabao Cup winners, Aston Villa Football Club. That has a lovely ring to it, And hey, it's guaranteed Europa League then as well. So but it won't matter
I've,
because we'll be top four. So
I've got Carabao as well, and this is like again, this is more of a hopeful prediction, like because that would be a double.
it would be a double.
It would be a double, and
No,
that's ridiculous.
no trophies for 20 years and then a double.
Yeah, so this is maybe just getting ahead of ourselves. Bit
Get
of
ahead of
fun.
yourself. There's no better
But,
time to do it.
yeah, but what I would say is that I think that we're very capable of it because of the squad that we have. In the past, you'd rotate the squad and it'd be like a bunch of kids or fringe players.
Yeah.
And now we've got mostly a squad that could be a first team, or at least 75% of a first team.
Around.
So it's one of those that I think the biggest challenge again is City. It's City in both cups that they take it seriously, but I mean they went out last year to Southampton, so it's one of those. I put us down because I wanted to be honest. Yeah, I thought let's win a double, and I'm going to just die happy forever. Then, so
Yeah, well, I've actually put the final down. I've put the final as being between Newcastle and us.
oh,
And
that'd be great.
only one of them can win it. So why not go for a double, eh?
Yeah,
Yeah, I but I thought this before as well. I thought if we were, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but for example, if we were knocked out of the Conference League, it would be the Carabao Cup that all the focus would go into, mainly because most of the games are finished before you get into the latter stages of the FA Cup. So it's one of those where you can sort of put your eggs into the basket and it doesn't derail your whole season. Like I think an FA Cup's more derailing, and I think
yeah,
it's because of how it's played at the time it comes up. Yeah, I I think the problem is a lot of clubs that go into the Carabao Cup come up against teams like a Burnley, it'll be like this season, for example, or like a Palace, and it's basically a final to them. And Man United or City, Chelsea, like Chelsea, I don't think Chelsea ever take it seriously anymore.
Yeah.
But then again, it's the problem of like Spurs again. But Spurs are Spurs. I just can't pick
Yeah.
winning anything. That might come back to bite me, but you just can't. So
I
yeah,
agree.
I have gone for us. It's where you keep saying Newcastle, and I'm like, oh, we play them in a couple of weeks, and we don't. We play them in 4 days.
Yeah.
Hasn't hit me yet. So
Can't wait.
feels like a faraway season. But let's go on to the biggest trophy in English football aside from the leagues, and it's the FA Cup. I I went with Liverpool.
I went City again.
I think the only reason I went with Liverpool is I mean, can you do if anyone can do back-to-back travels, it is City, I guess, or doubles even. I just think that I don't know why, but I think that Liverpool have such a bounce back season that they need. It will get to a point where I think they'll be obviously. I have to remind myself now. Europe is for City for Liverpool. Where did they finish? My God.
Fifth. They got Europa,
Yeah,
didn't they?
fifth. So exactly, yeah. So I think Europa, they can actually rotate in Europa okay enough, but their squad isn't that big. But again, they'll be in the latter stages of that when the FA Cup comes around. They can breeze through probably the first 3 rounds, and then I think then when it comes up against the City and stuff, full strength there. The league's probably already gone by that point, and that's where it sort of goes around. And I don't know. It's just I can't picture Liverpool in the FA Cup, so to me, they're going to win the FA Cup. It's really hard to explain that, but I can't picture them lifting it, but they're going to. But
Yeah.
don't know why I can explain it, but I couldn't picture City winning the treble, and they did. So
Yeah. The FA Cup for me. That this is why I didn't put us. I wanted to put us down for a domestic cup, and I wasn't going to do the FA Cup because I think, as you say, I think we're going to go far in the Conference League, and that late, I just feel like it'll catch up with us. And I mean, it could already catch up with us with the Carabao Cup, as I'm saying that we're going to win it, but it's one of those. I think City just they win a domestic trophy pretty much every season, don't they?
yeah,
And that I think a lot of people are worried about him in a sense that they've lost a couple of key players and they look a little bit short. But I don't know. I feel like Gundogan's gone. They're going to drop Bernardo Silva back, and Foden's going to have his time in
yeah,
the spotlight. It's one of I think people always make it sound like they've got a really big squad, which they don't. They just have a really quality 15, 16 players, and they can swap players in and out. And even if they're not in their best position, they do a brilliant job. So I feel like they're just going to be their usual City, start rough, solid middle, and then absolutely motor through the last 20 games of the season.
I do think they blitzed through Burnley on Friday though as sort of like a revenge for the Community Shield. But I do think that I agree with you. City they have slow starts. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember distinctly watching the Community Shield last year, and I took Haaland out my FPL because I was like, he can't hack it. He cannot hack it. So yeah, maybe I'm not good at predicting things.
Yeah, I'm not saying we're not winning anything this season now, are we?
Yeah, just listen to James, not me. Clearly a bit of a jinx. Right, so these ones are the more like just they're the ones you throw out, and everyone's probably got a Man City player in one or if not both of these predictions. But top scorer and top assister, please, James.
So Premier League top goal scorer Mohamed Salah, and top assister Saka. I just think that Haaland will still have a really good season, but I think Liverpool are going to be a really free scoring team this season, but woeful at defending. So I just feel like he's going to bag 30 plus, and Haaland will bag 30 plus, and there'll be 1 or 2 goals in it. And then assister, I think Saka's just going to be like a creative force this season, and it would just depend on who's getting them goals because Jesus is out for however long now, and Havertz is about as useful as Boyer Iglesias or whatever it was that we signed.
Oh, my word. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And I feel like there is just I don't know how to explain Saka. He's a player that if I think about him, I'm not sure what he does excitingly, but he's so efficient.
Yeah.
Like he knows how to create out of nothing. So yeah, I feel like those are my two nailed on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so I went Haaland as top scorer. But weirdly enough, I went top assists. I actually went for Salah. I think that they have a weirdly free flowing forwards, and I think that because Darwin Núñez is Darwin Núñez, I actually think that he ends on a very good goal scoring tally. And I mean, he's got now midfielders that he can lay it off to. I mean, McAllister, you can just lay it off to from 20 yards out, and he can take a couple of touches, take in the box and slide away. Cody Gakpo's dropping in as well. So I think they've got enough for him to get what he needs as well. But that doesn't discount the amount of goals he will score as well. But I don't know. I think it's just, again, so about Haaland, isn't there, for me? But I do think he scores less this year. And I think that I think Alvarez scores a bit more as well. But it just depends what it takes as an injury, isn't it? But that's what we've gone for. Right. Who cares about the rest of the Premier League? Who cares about other players? It's the Villa predictions part now. I need to remember now. There should be a little timestamp bit here so people can just scroll along and see the Villa predictions bit. So let's just recap. You've got us to finish
7th.
And I've got us to finish 8th. And we both got us to get a double. So I mean,
hearing it back really for me.
Yeah, but when you go to a pub or you go to the bar or you go out, you're not going up, let's have a single rum and coke. No, you get the double. And that's exactly what Unai Emery's saying right now. He's gone, we get the double. What double? I don't care. It can even be a domestic double. I'll take it.
100%.
But we've got the important ones now, so we'll go with our top scorer first.
It feels obvious to me. I feel like it just has to be Watkins. And I feel like he's going to get 19.
Yeah, I've gone Watkins, but I still think he gets 15. I think the goals just get spread around more again. I assume, are we gone for Premier League top scorer for us then?
Yeah.
Because, again, I think there's so much rotation that happens that it won't really make too much of a difference anyway. But yeah, I've gone Watkins as well, but I do think he scores the same as last season. I think he has a bit more help. More help because it's worrying without it. So, and then top assists. I've gone Douglas Luiz.
I nearly went for Luiz, but I've gone John McGinn. I think he's I've underrated John McGinn even recently because we've been saying on the pod how he's been immense under Emery, but I don't think it's funny because I've been basing this off pre-season, but I didn't really realise how tactically switched on he is. Like, he knows this Emery system inside out now and how to exploit it, and how he picks up those pockets of space. I feel like he's going to get 12, 13 assists this season. And that's a lot of goals that are going to get scored if you sharing around the rest of the assists. But yeah, I feel like he's going to have a really top season.
Yeah, it's not outside the realms of possibility at all. I nearly went with McGinn. He was on my list. He was on my top 3. My problem with him is I think that he is probably, through no fault of his own, but out of the 3, technically midfield 3, but he plays on the right. I think he's probably the first to be rotated out to change it up. So I thought that might hinder him a bit, but again, I could be completely proved wrong, and I think that position out on the right is so good for him. Just want to see him happy because he's got just a lovely smile, hasn't he? Just chaps himself. But yeah, I went with Luiz. I think Luiz offers so much with his passing range that we were talking about this before, I think last season, because there was someone who I watched football with who didn't particularly rate Douglas Luiz too much. Which I vehemently disagreed with. And I've said, I think that and you agreed, I think you actually said it to me and I stole it, was that he sees a pass ahead. and he's trying the next thing where we're at a stage where we hadn't started that yet. I mean, he was our player of the season for a reason. I also think that he drifts more to the left this season as well. I think because of the way we might set up, we might change it when we go down the left as a sort of faker option when we take the right up. For example, when we play Pau Torres at left back.
Yeah.
Back. I think that takes Douglas Luiz a bit more space in his little area. I just love the bloke. I think it just really clicks for him this year. And I do think it could be our last year with him. I think this year is his standout year. Sort of like a McAllister year, for example. I'm not saying they're the same player, but obviously the player that they get bought. And I could just see him go into any of that big six. Sky Six, sorry.
Yeah.
Just cut them up bigger than us. But you could see it. I mean, I did see as well. Tottenham were in for him, apparently. I mean, come on, like, it just doesn't make sense. But
yeah, it's not.
Anyway, right, this one's tough. Player of the season.
I went Emi Martinez, and that'd make you think that we've had a poor season in a sense, because usually you think if your goalkeeper's been busy and winning the player of the season, then you've not had a top season. But I think he's going to be key to us keeping the ball out more often because of how I think you can get us because of the ball over the top, or if we're using a centre back that's drifting in a bit more, you might be able to get at him more with pace. So, and not only that, I think with the ball at his feet, he's becoming really key with our build-up. We saw that in pre-season, a ball into midfield, and we've got out two lines of their press. So I feel like he's going to be looked back on, considering I've got McGinn top assister with double-digit assists and Watkins on 19 goals. I think that sort of says what sort of a season I think Martinez is going to have.
Yeah. I went along the same lines. I went Tyrone Mings. Tyrone Mings was second, basically, wasn't he, for player of the season this year? I think that he will perform to a level this year that is better than last. I think we'll probably see him pop up with a goal or two more this season. I don't know why. I've just got this weird feeling with Mings. And I think that he's going to take this added pressure of having a Pau Torres breathing down his neck for his place, or possibly a Diego Carlos as well, really into his stride. And I just think that he'll be that colossal defender that, for example, will be in the Carabao Cup final for our first final of the season, and he'll be making goal line clearances or goal saving tackles and stuff. And those are the things that stick in a lot of fans' minds. And especially mine. I mean, I think at least every season he's had one goal-saving clearance or tackle. I mean, the Leeds one sticks in my head massively. So, but again, maybe it's because I love him. It might be because I absolutely love him.
It is tough to pick this player of the season. I think the second one in my head was the man that's been on a redemption curve in my head is Ezri Konsa. I actually think, because I've been saying for weeks and weeks that I want to see more from Konsa on the ball. Pre-season, he was excellent, and defensively too. One mistake against Brentford, giving away the pen, but he was really left isolated back there, and poor choice of tackle, but it was what it was. He's been really good in pre-season, and I feel like maybe he's going to get back to that level where we are hounding for him to get called up for England because he's been that good. So he would have been my second choice after Emi Martinez.
Yeah, my second choice was Jacob Ramsey, actually. I think, but I nearly put him as young player of the season, but he's not my young player of the season because I don't think he doesn't qualify for me as our young player anymore.
Well, he's my young player of the season.
There we go. I knew that was coming. That was my secret segue that I totally knew was happening.
I don't know what the cutoff is, but he's not 23 yet, is he? Sure, he's not. He's 22.
It's a good option, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like he's just going to have, when he gets back, he's going to be wanting to make an impact because, especially if we start well, he's going to have to, 22, he's really going to have to prove his worth to get back in the team and stay in it. And he really had a good end to the season last season. I think at his age, he was still getting used to this system. and then he was really popping up with important goals, assists, and the last game of the season he was incredible with those 2 assists. I feel like it feels nailed on to me still. There's only a couple of other options really that are in my head, but he just stands out every time for me. You know how much I love JJ.
Yeah, I mean it's hard not to love him, really, isn't it? I mean, I didn't love him very much when he missed the open net against Brighton, but I do love the bloke, and it makes sense. Again, I think I just didn't go for him because I think this player is going to be the young player of the season that people take their eye on to. Can you guess?
Jaden Philogene-Bidace.
Jaden Philogene-Bidace, yes, it is. I think that he'll crop up in games and be the difference maker in a couple of Premier League games. I genuinely think that, and cup games. I think a lot of our Carabao Cup realm will rely on him. And I'd like to see sort of how he plays on the right hand side, and maybe like a Felipe Coutinho link up on the left. That'd
be nice.
Strange link up, innit? You wouldn't think would happen, but yeah, I do. I just think that what he showed me in pre-season was enough to convince me, and clearly convince the club that he will be part of the first team this year. And I think that, to be honest, there isn't that many young players that he's got much contention for as well. Like you said, there's only a couple other options, and I mean we'll get on to Cameron Archer shortly, but I think that he'll sort of blow it out of the water for me, and I think that we'll see a lot of how he fits into the system so naturally that it will sort of become a tough decision towards the end of the season where we're like, oh, well, actually, he's one of our better players that we want to see starting. I just want to see more selection crisis, because through so long of having we have no players to we have all these players. So that's what I've gone for. We can do this or not. This is the only one I was debating getting rid of this year, and it was disappointment of the season. Have you got one?
Yeah, but it's not in a really negative sense.
No,
I don't know how to explain it. I went for, and it sounds like you might have gone for the same. I went for Cameron Archer.
Oh, I didn't. That's fine.
Not in the fact that I think he's going to be really bad. It's just I think a lot of us, me included, had him down as this really, well, I don't know how to explain. Like he was going to come in and he's going to set the world alight. I think he's going to need a little bit more time, and it's a bit more grounding watching him in pre-season in this team, because I mean, bearing in mind, obviously he did turn up late for pre-season because of his international tournament, but he just felt like a passenger at times, and I think he's one that you have to do a lot of work around him in this system to provide him with those chances. So I feel like he'll still score some goals, I think, this season, but he's not a deputy for Watkins yet. So I think in that sense, he might be a little bit frustrating at times, if you know what I mean, but he'll still be a handy to have around. So it's like a tough word, disappointment, but you know, in the frame of our minds and what we've been talking about Archer for the past 2 seasons, that's how I saw it.
Yeah, so I did go with Matty Cash, and I don't think that he's going to have a bad season. I just think he'll be the one that sticks out as the area. I mean, a lot of people already said that right back is an area that we need a starting player to come in for. Yeah, I just think that maybe where he doesn't have that cover, that he might get exposed even more. And yeah, I do worry for him, because I do think he is a good player. I just worry that he's not the player we need anymore. But again, disappointment's so hard. I actually think the most disappointing thing this season will be how the relationship of the club and the fans continues. I think it's been a weird summer, hasn't it, between the club and the fans? It's been so positive and so negative at the same time. I think the only disappointment we might find is like more weird decisions being made and uncommunicated decisions. But I think that might be the only thing that we might find disappointing. But it's to say, isn't it, really? And again, I didn't want to use that as my one, because that is like totally throwing you under the bus for picking a player, and I pick some outlandish like ethereal claim. So I did go for Matty Cash, but yeah, I think the actual thing we'd be disappointed with is things like ticket choices and sales and the way that gets operated, or club renovations and stuff like that. I think that might be actually where see a sort of a gap between the two. But
yeah.
here we go. Right, I feel like I've given you a good time for this, so I'll do mine first anyway to let you think of one.
I think I've got one in my head.
Okay, so I've got mine. So I've called this the unpopular / outlandish prediction of the season, and it is I've done it Villa based.
Same.
So I was split between two, so I've merged them into one. I've said that Cameron Archer is loaned / sold in January, and due to poor performance and him wanting to have regular first team football, and that by the end of the season, Felipe Coutinho scores more goals than him. If he stays, that's a big if he stays. And I will counteract this where if it's not him, then Jadon Philogene-Benace will.
Yeah. There's just, I can see it just because, like, I mean, I've been a massive fan of Archer since he broke through to the first team, and I feel like he's going to have a really good future. I don't know whether this is because players develop at all different times. I don't know whether this opportunity that he's bound to get will be too soon for him, because I think there's a lot of reliance on the strikers to put the chances away, but also be involved in the play. So
I did it. I think that Cameron Archer is going to go on to be a very good striker, and I genuinely think he'll be a very solid Premier League striker. I just think that the timing of him coming into this squad and being our second choice striker isn't going to work for him. And I don't think it's more so a him being unable to, quality wise. I just think it's weird timing. And again, he's such a good player, but I just struggle to see a world where he gets enough game time and enough of an impact to completely justify his own decision to stay and play second string in such a key development start to him. So that was my decision making. Again, I want to make it clear that I am no way saying that he missed a penalty in pre-season and a good chance, or that he's terrible. I just think that it could possibly be a year too soon.
Yeah, I think that's fair. My prediction, again Villa based, is that by the end of the season, fans will have warmed to Robin Olsen.
Ooh,
I think
nice.
the past two pre-season games, he was much improved on what we've seen from him in recent times, and that might be a flash in the pan. It might not, but some of the murmurs are that Emery's happy with him. I think unless something really opportunistic came about and we could move him on, and I think he's going to stay, and I think he's going to have a lot of trust put into him in some of the cup games, maybe many of the cup games. And the tough thing with goalkeepers is when you're not playing a lot, it's so much harder to be on top of your game, and especially in a system where you've got a lot of responsibility with the ball at your feet, and you've got a lot of pressure to keep the ball out when you've not been playing a lot. So it's really tough, and I've joked about him before. I can't lie. I think some of the things that we've read have also really harsh towards him, like never understand the abuse. I think critical and jokes is fine, but some of the things I see is just ridiculous. But I'm really hoping. I'm actually hoping that he does do really well when he's called upon, because I mean it'd save us money for short term. So that'd be mine.
It's a nice fun one, that. I like that. That's a shame. Mine's so negative now. But it'd be interesting to see. And like you said, the voice on the club is that we're not getting a second choice goalkeeper in. So again, you've got to get this point now where you go, well, that's happening now, so you may as well just back him. And again, I mean, United are doing it to Maguire at the moment. I just don't get booing your own players, especially when they haven't done anything wrong yet. And again, you can be critical, but you can be, constructive criticism is the point, isn't it? So I think okay. I like yours a lot more. We'll call that one the AVFC Faithful unpopular prediction of the season. Cool. So I saw today that the podcast account put out a tweet. I say I saw as if we don't both run it, so we knew that it was happening. Now, I'll ask you your answer for this first, and then we'll go into what everyone else has said. Um, I'll preface this by saying 183 people replied to it, and I believe we got 20 quotes on it. So I won't go through all 200. I'll be perfectly honest, because I think this is probably long enough as it is. So the question was, what is the lowest Premier League finish you'd be happy with if it meant we won a trophy this year? I want to preface this by saying it's one trophy, not our double.
Yeah, even though that is going to happen.
Obviously.
Yeah, I saw some of the responses. There was a mixed bag, and definitely, mixed bag of opinions in there.
Uh-huh.
I found it really tough to decide, but because trophies, you just, I mean, considering we've got us down for a double this season, trophies you just don't come by very often at Villa Park nowadays. So to win something, I think it sets you up for life in terms of memories. So I think it's very important in that sense because it just is. You know, as I said, it's not, especially with how football is now. You don't get that many opportunities. So at first I did think, 15th maybe, but with the manager we've got, with the funds we've got, with the backing through the fans that we've got and everything that's coming, I'd probably say top half minimum still for me, 10th minimum.
Okay, yeah, no, I understand that. I think it makes sense because, like you said, with the level that we've got, it should be comfortable enough that we can compete in minimum 2 competitions. I mean, we didn't go all the way, but we competed in 3 last year. So
Yeah,
it was tough for me because I had to put aside the fact that I think if it was any other Villa season, I'd say 17th and a trophy. But I think, like you said, I put into context a lot of the fact that it is Unai Emery and is this crop of talent we've got, with the chance of signing another player or two. So I flirted around with the idea of 13th and 12th. I said my lowest was 11th. Not too dissimilar from yourself, I guess, 10th upwards. And I think I think it's just because it's going to be such a difficult year around that middle gap because there's going to be a dogfight going on at the bottom and there's going to be a dogfight going on from 3rd to 6th.
Yeah.
So the middle part is going to get disconnected from one of them and then the other one at some point. It's not going to be a point where it's 3 points separate 11th and 8th. I don't think that happens. I think 3 points separate 7th from 6th and 5th. So that's where I went with it. And I think it was more the acceptance of the fact that I could be fine with the fact that a win in any of the trophies gets us European football next year, whether it's Conference League, whether it's Europa League. So we've not won anything in so long, and I'll get into it now, but some of the replies of they've kind of blew me away with the idea that it's sort of like expected almost that we win something this year. Which I know we've said about the double and stuff, but
even that, as I say, I feel silly saying it.
Yeah, but we got to predict, but there's difference between predicting it and expecting it. I'm not actually expecting us to get the double. That's my prediction. So, I mean, I'll pick up some of them. First, we will go with Matt Kendrick, who said 20th. Now, I think we all remember the clip of him saying he'd take 20th of an FA Cup. So that came as no surprise to me that he said that. Some people, and I said Kurt, who's quite well known amongst the three of others, he said anywhere outside the bottom 3 as trophies are more important than league finishes. And someone else said a win in any of the 3 cups guarantees us European football this season after anyway. We're not going to be winning league titles anytime soon, so Europe should be the priority. That was from AVFC Midge. And then like other people said, people mostly agreed with you, James. It's top 10. Someone put they'd actually prefer top 5 than a trophy. No. I think I've still never seen us win something. Call me selfish, but we have to win something. Someone put 6th. A trophy will not attract better players or keep our best players. We need to be in the Champions League, and once we are regularly at that end of the table, the trophies will come. That was from Zeppo 666. I do disagree with that just because I think trophies give European football, and then that's sort of what attracts them. So
I was going to say, if you're winning trophies, is that not attractive?
I thought that personally. Yeah, yeah, it is. Again, I am very thankful to everyone that commented. Some weeks I'm like, guys, we need more comments, and then you go through and get 200 and realize you actually can't go through all of them. But I do disagree with this, and I wanted to point this out. Someone said three. Actually, I've got three here that all say it. 10th, any lower is massively disappointing. We have to remain in the top half of the table no matter what. And then 10th, but then we've got to win the Conference League. Anything outside the European spot, we have to win a cup, which obviously it comes with it. I don't think it's the world's biggest disappointment if we finish 12th with a cup. I think it's balancing the expectation and the realization of where we've come from. But then again, it's not surprising that people's expectations go up so high when you're on such a high. So I actually quite sympathize and empathize with it. But at the same time, my opinion is of the fact that I think 11th, and I'd be happy with the trophy because it's a parade. It's a recognition of all of the achievements that we've achieved over the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And it's an ability to, again, go up into another European competition, whether it's the same one or one up, and just keep growing. It's not going to be so quick as, I don't think it's as quick as we finish in the Conference League and then we win a trophy and finish in the Champions League spaces. I don't think it's that simple.
Yeah.
I'd love if it is, and I'm not saying it's impossible. I just think that there's so much competition this year, and you've got clubs without European competition coming back up. I just think it's going to be tough. That's all.
Yeah, I agree.
Lovely. Well, I think it sounds a bit ranty that, but it wasn't, and it's just a very happy time. And I think it's weird seeing the word disappointment. So there's only two things left to do. It's another question I wanted to throw out to you. I mentioned to you before the pod, and then we'll just do our prediction for Saturday evening. So my one question to you was, you have to pick one trophy to win this season. Which trophy do you win?
FA Cup.
Oh, look how easy that was. We both said the same one.
Yeah, it's because, I mean, Europa Conference League has that bougie feel about it being European, but it's so new, and the heritage that comes with the FA Cup and how it's won by pretty much every season, one of the Sky Six.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be amazing to see us lift that. So for me, it just has to be the FA Cup.
Yeah, it's a historic trophy. It's one we've been successful in it in the past. It'd be lovely to see us take it back up again. And yeah, it's a proper trophy, isn't it? Again,
see those claret and blue ribbons on it. Imagine.
I can't imagine claret and blue ribbons on things, James. This is the problem.
Yeah.
Imagine that. It doesn't make sense to me. Lovely. Well, that was our predictions out of the way. There's only one more to do. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but we are actually back in the Premier League now. T-minus 3 days. Yep. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Yep. The Premier League season kicks off. And then Saturday, 17:30 hours or 5:30 for those of you that don't speak like a strange person. Aston Villa travel up to St James's Park to face Eddie Howe's Newcastle United, Champions League contenders possibly, against the Europa Conference League winners. Right, it's going to be a fun game. I think it's going to be one that both teams are going to fight tooth and nail for, because I think both of us, we've got no Europe yet, and this is the time to get your winning start. And what better team to win it against than someone that I think we are going to be in direct competition for places this year. James, what's your scoreline?
2-2.
Oh, Desmond.
I think
on the opening day.
Yeah, it's got that game's got goals in it. I think.
Yeah.
It's watching.
Did at home this year.
They smashed us at home last season, and we smashed them at home as well. And then in the pre-season, just watching how the two teams like to play. Newcastle have really good runners in behind that can do our high line. They also like to press quite high, but we can play through that quite well. And I feel like it's going to be a topsy-turvy game, and it's going to be a game of goals in. So 2-2, which it's funny because I'd be slightly disappointed because I would really like to win that first game of the season, but tough ask, isn't it, going up there for first game? So 2-2.
4-2 winners to Aston Villa Football Club.
There's definitely going to be goals in this game, isn't there?
I think there's a goals. I think there's a red card for either team. I think it's just one of those games. It's Saturday night. It's the opening weekend. There's weird results that go around. I've looked. We're not near favourites, which I like. Again, because we weren't favourites when they came to our place. That lives strong in my memory. That game, because it was the first time that Unai Emery played Eddie Howe that season. Correct? We had it wasn't Gerard. It was our standing. Thank you. Who played at St James's Park. Unai Emery's not lost to Eddie Howe, I believe. All right, yeah, okay, he was at Bournemouth, but still, I just back it, you know. I love it. I think there's 2 for Watkins. I think there's 1 for Diaby. And
well, you know what? I'd take that all day long, and I'm pretty sure you called the 3-0 at home last season as well.
Oh, look, I didn't want to mention it, but and I also predict that Kamara scores as well. I don't know why.
I'm living for a Kamara goal, please.
Get weird feelings, but I agree with you though. I do worry about like Isak running in behind, for example. That frightens me because he's a fucking brilliant player. So it's going to be. I just can't wait. I can't wait. I know that I'm going to be in a bit of a state watching it. I don't know why I've done this, but I'm actually going out watching it. Which me and the public watching Villa is never a good look. I'm not an upstanding citizen. I'm not quietly going. I think there'll be a quiet mention of telling me to maybe quiet down, please, sir, because people are trying to enjoy their days. So I can't wait. The Premier League's back. Unai Emery's tricky villains. We're winning. We're winning it all. Yeah. The double's coming.
We're gonna win.
Oh, I can't wait. Well, again, thank everyone for dropping in. This was a fun one. I love the previews before the season because it's all the optimism, it's all the weird guesses that we come out with. I can't wait to be right on everything, to be honest. Because if I'm right on everything, you're right on most things, and Villa have won a double. So ridiculous, really, isn't it? Well, that's it for this week. I know.
Fingers crossed.
I know. And well, next week it's double episode week, isn't it, James? We've got a guest coming on. We won't let you know who yet. And obviously we'll have the post-match review from the Newcastle win. So until next week at the Villa.